Start your journey to parenthood with Pinnacle Fertility Ohio. We offer IVF, surrogacy, genetic testing, and more, accepting all insurances and offering flexible payment plans. Your dream of parenthood begins with Pinnacle Fertility Ohio's immediate affordable care. Book now at rgiohio.com.
My name's Megan. I have an almost 7-year-old daughter named Maren, and it was quite the journey to get to her. We were very blessed that when we first got married, Jay and I, we were totally shocked that we got pregnant right away. It was very much a shock, and quickly found out that that was not the case. We had our first loss at about 6.5, 7 weeks, and I thought, how could this even be possible? And went through one of the hardest times ever, and that was that miscarriage that I had alone at the house. No one ever prepares you for something like that, to experience it by yourself. And I don't even blame my husband because he didn't know how to help in that situation. So we got through everything with that. A couple months later, we were pregnant again. And same situation. Unfortunately, we lost that child as well to another miscarriage, but I at least had the power and the knowledge of what to do when that happened a little bit more. Had the resources and the people to support me a little bit better that time, but none of them are easy. It never gets easier. So at that point I said, okay, knowledge is power. I'm going to the experts to try and have them help me out here. And of course I was of geriatric age, which we all hate that word. But so we went and we got testing. Everything looked really good. And we decided that we were going to try an IUI. And lo and behold, we have our miracle Maren. And she truly is a miracle because I love the story. The day that we went in for our IUI was my grandma's birthday, August 16th. And my grandma is just an incredible person. We just lost her about 1.5 years ago. But I have no doubt in my mind that that is one of the reasons that Maren is here today, because the day that happened was her birthday. So that just gave me peace along the journey. And it was a scary journey. I thought we lost her again at about 8, 9 weeks. We had a huge scare, huge bleed. My mom rushed down from Canfield. It was traumatic. But there was that little heartbeat. And yeah. And then Maren's born, life's great. Let's do this again. So guess what? We get pregnant right away. We miscarry. And I'm just like, third time, this can't be happening. And it happened. And then I said, I'm done again. We're going back. So we did another round of IUI thinking it worked. It didn't work. And then so we were like, let's jump to the better alternative, the better chance, more testing. We ended up doing 2 rounds of IVF with one fertility clinic here in Columbus. We got millions of eggs, but nothing ever went to blast. We couldn't even transfer any of those embryos. And at that point, I was pretty deflated, pretty defeated. My age is creeping up. So then we decided to switch fertility clinics, went to another fertility clinic. He was extremely confident, thinking we can do this still. But again, we got all the way. We had one embryo that was not of great quality, and unfortunately it did not take. So I said, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. And then COVID happened, and lo and behold, we said, let's try one more time. We got pregnant. We thought, this is it. It was COVID. We're going to have another baby. And miscarriage number 4. So for me, 40 happened, and I was done with shots. I was done with DNCs. I was done. And Maren asks every day, all the time, why do I not have a brother or a sister? And it's really hard because she can't understand the journey yet. But we tried really hard to give her a brother or sister. We tried really hard. And every day when I look at her, I'm like, what would it be like to have another one of you? Or what would another one be like? You know, would you be different? Would you be the same? And it's hard. Fertility is just, it's really hard. But we're also blessed because every Mother's Day, I get to celebrate Mother's Day. And I think about that all the time, that I get to be called mom, and I get called it a lot every day, and it drives me crazy sometimes. But in those moments when I'm like, can you please not say mom one more time? I also know in the back of my head how blessed I am to be given that title, because it is the greatest title that I will ever be given.
So during COVID, was that just a natural pregnancy?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, dude.
And we had a heartbeat, like a little teeny, like they thought. We went in, they were like, yes. And then, yeah. And then I was like, IUD.
Yeah, no.
I'm done.
And there's a lot of power in that. I mean, it's
there was, and there was peace after like 6 months. There was so much peace in that because I knew and we talked about adoption, and we talked about all the things. My sister offered eggs because it was my eggs that ended up being something that they thought was the problem, and my husband couldn't get past certain. And I get it. You have to be both on board. I've realized that too. Whatever you choose to go forward with or to stop with, you have to be on board. And I was ready. Like I was like, this is the closest we get. My daughter looks just like my sister's 4 children. She could be one of their children. But my husband would never have gotten past the fact that this is like my child with yours. He could not. And that's where it stops. Okay. And that is totally fine.
Yeah.
That is, and he is valid in his feelings and his thoughts.
And men, it takes them a little while. It takes
exactly.
Jay, Brady,
come on now.
all you fucking, sorry that you're the basic gender. We're sorry.
How did this journey with infertility impact my mental health? I mean, there's no doubt I went into some dark, deep times. And it affected my mental health, but more importantly, my relationship, because I was in such a dark place, but my husband was dealing with it in different ways and not to the same degree, because I'm coming out of a surgery yet again, or having another procedure done to try to have another child. And my body is just physically kind of rejecting all of this. So mentally, I mean, but I think the biggest thing with my mental health journey for me, because this is just the type of person I am, was to talk about it. I just am the person. I want to talk about it. I want other people. I lean on other people in those situations. But I also think with this journey, I think the biggest thing too with anybody's mental situation is, with anything, you have to deal with it the way you want to deal with it, and the way you grieve, and the way that you deal with it, because there's no shame if you don't want to talk about it. But that is just the way that I found peace for myself, was to get it out there, was to know that I was not alone in this situation, and so many people talk about it, but it can feel so incredibly lonely, and why me and why us? But there's a reason. There's a true reason why we have one amazing, crazy, almost 7-year-old, and a dog that she calls her sister, because that's her sibling. So that's okay. During this whole infertility and loss that we went through, one of the core memories that I have is that very first miscarriage, when the doctor, I don't understand why, looking back, basically asked me, how would you like to miscarry? Oh, I don't know. At a bar? I mean, like drinking? I don't know. Like, I mean, how would I like to miscarry? I don't. And I said, well, you're the expert. Can you tell me? I never had gone through this. And so she was like, well, I think it's best that you don't have surgery and that we just do this naturally. And so we do a pill and you will just miscarry naturally. So I said, okay, not understanding much. And at this time, didn't know. And I literally had a pill inserted. I went home. It was 2:00 in the afternoon. And she said, in a couple hours, you're going to start to feel a ton of pain and a ton of cramping. And then you're going to start to feel like you're basically giving birth with a miscarriage. And I guess I just didn't conceptualize what she was telling me at the time. And so I went home, and it was all that and then some. It was pure hell. I was on the bathroom floor because I was sweating so profusely. And my husband was at work because I don't think neither of us understood the power of what was about to happen. But I will never forget, and I still look at that bathroom floor and laying there and having to experience that by myself and asking myself, did it happen already? Is this as bad as it's going to get? And then it got worse. And I still, even when it got really bad, I'm like, is this it? I didn't even. And so I told myself from that point on that I would never do this alone like this again. I will have my people by me because I thought I was strong enough to do it by myself, and that I will never do it like this again. I will never do this at home by myself without the use of I will undergo some type of a surgery if this, God forbid, ever happens again, which unfortunately it did. So, yeah, that is my core horrible memory from all of this. Advice for people going through it. Again, it's everybody's own journey and but my advice is to start to talk about it and asking people if you trust them, if you know that you want their advice, because sometimes we ask people knowing we truly don't want their advice, but yet we ask it anyways. And then we're like, shit, why did I just ask for it? I really didn't. Or people just give their opinion, whether they're asked it or not. Mm-hmm. And I also think too, going through the journey, knowledge is power. And you ask the questions to these if you are going to a doctor, you deserve your time in that office. You deserve to ask any question. You take as much time as you need because you need to know all of the information. And if they're not going to give it to you, then go to someone who does, because that's not fair to you. Because yes, these doctors are dealing with this all the time, every day, day in and day out. This is just what they do all the time. They see people who are dealing with infertility, but your journey is your journey, and what you're going through in that moment, you deserve that time. What positive things have come out of this experience? I met one of my best friends because of it. We were actually connected through a friend from high school who went through fertility issues, who I knew as well. But we ended up bonding over the fact that we both just had one child. But we met at Crimson Cup on a random Tuesday night because we were both looking to nanny share. And lo and behold, she was literally experiencing and going through the exact same things I was going through, different as far as the reasons of infertility. But we decided that we think this will work. We'll share our home with each other for the next 5.5 years. Our kids are best friends. They could never have another child. We could never have another child. And I think that's probably number one for me, is that we, in sharing as much as we did with each other, it got us through that time as well too, because they have each other and they're like siblings, and it's one of the biggest blessings in my life. If there were things that I could say that people asked me or to not say to people going through this journey, yes, number one, for sure, if I had to hear one more time, but you work out, you're in great shape, you'll get pregnant. You're not that old. It's okay. I was going to lose my mind, because in so many ways it has nothing to do with that. It drove me crazy all the time. And then the other one, now that we have one child, it was the question. And I used to a fault, I used to say this to people too. You just kind of don't know what to say. But with one, it would be like, are you ready to have another one? And I'm really honest with those people. And I tell them flat out, I say, we have one miracle child and she truly is a miracle. And I wish we could have been blessed with more, but we were not able to. How did this infertility journey have an impact on the relationship with my husband? I think the biggest thing for me, and I think a lot of women deal with, is that men are just never going to fully understand what we're going through. There's just no way. There's just no way. And so, you know, he was there to give me a shot, or he was, you know, there to maybe hold my hand or something. But the beauty of carrying a child, a man will never get to experience either. But the true sorrow of the loss of a child that you have carried, or you have done all these things to your body to try to have a child, they will just never experience. And to no fault of their, you know, they can't help that, but it definitely put a strain, because those feelings just, it just won't ever, they'll never be able to fathom it because of that.
Mic drop. You're right.
Set. Go. Get my hand. Come on.
My name is Cassie, and I am 1 in 6.
My name is Megan, and I am 1 in 6.
My name is Gwenna, and I'm 1 in 6.
You are a warrior.
You're a badass.
And you are not alone.